In this video, we're going to be talking about volume of spheres. So the formula for volume of spheres, if you go over to your formula chart and you go down to volume, the formula for volume of a sphere is volume equals 4 over 3 times pi times radius cubed. So we're going to go ahead and write that formula on our notes. So volume equals 4 over 3 times pi times radius cubed. Now, a big mistake people tend to have is that they forget the exponent is supposed to be 3 here on your radius, and they tend to just leave it as a 2. Make sure you do not make that mistake. So the directions here on the front page say we want to draw and label the diameter and the radius of each sphere. So looking at this sphere here, now remember diameter goes all the way across and radius only goes halfway. And remember, a sphere does not have a base. So looking at this sphere, I'm going to go ahead and draw my radius in red, and I will draw our diameter in blue. So for our diameter would go all the way across the middle of our sphere. So this would be the diameter. Now the radius would only go halfway. So the radius would only go halfway. So this would be the radius. Looking at this shape here, again, my diameter would go all the way across, and then my radius would only go halfway. So this is my radius, and then this would be the diameter. Looking here, I have a hemisphere, and on this hemisphere, this line only goes halfway, so this would be an example of a radius. Looking at the soccer ball, on the soccer ball, if your line went all the way across, this would be the diameter. And again, if it only went halfway, that would be the radius. Looking here, this is a fourth of a sphere. So this line would be your diameter because it would go all the way across. But then this would be the radius because it only goes halfway across your sphere. Think of this as a full sphere. Okay, looking at the globe, this went all the way across. This would be the diameter. And again, if it only went halfway, it would be your radius. Okay, so that's the difference between the diameter and your radius. But again, in your problem, you only really need to know the radius when it comes to spheres. So let's look at a few examples. So looking here at the first example, first we want to list our dimensions. So we need to know the radius. And here, this goes all the way across. So this is actually my diameter. My diameter equals 6. So we want to find our radius. So to find our radius, we're going to take our diameter, which is 6, and we're going to cut it in half. We're going to divide it by 2, and it equals 3. So here our radius equals 3. So now we want to know what is the formula for a volume of a sphere, which remember is 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. So let's plug in this information. So we have 4/3 times pi times my radius, which is 3 cubed. So now open your calculator. We're going to type Control Divide. 4 on top, 3 on the bottom. Step out of your fraction, multiply that by pi, multiply that by 3 cubed. Now to get cubed, you're going to have to hit the caret top, which is right next to x squared, and you're going to put an exponent of 3. Pressing enter, we get 113.097. We're going to go ahead and round this to the tenths place. So we're going to look at the hundredths place, which is a 9. And that is telling me to round the 0 to a 1. So here the formula for volume of this sphere is 113.1. My unit is centimeters cubed. Then let's go ahead and look at the next. We have a hemisphere. So first we need to go ahead and label the radius. So here, this line only goes halfway across. So this is 4. Now notice how I said hemisphere. So this is half of a sphere. So whatever answer we do get in the end, we will have to divide by 2. Now again, the formula for volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 times pi times radius cubed. Now we're going to go ahead and plug in our information. So we have 4 over 3 times pi times our radius, which is 4 cubed. So opening up our calculator, we're going to take control divide, 4 on top, 3 on the bottom. Make sure you step out of your fraction. You're going to multiply this by pi, and remember pi is next to the letter h. And then multiply that by 4. And then again, to get the cubed, you're going to hit the caret top, and the caret top is right next to x squared with the exponent of 3. Pressing enter, we get 268.083. This 8 is telling me to round up the 0 to a 1. So this is 268.1. But again, since this is a hemisphere, we want to divide this by 2. So 268.1 divided by 2, we get 134.05. So here, 134.05, my unit is centimeters cubed, is the volume for this hemisphere. Looking at the next shape, we have what looks like a bowl, and bowls are hemispheres. So first we need to list our dimensions. So if you notice, on this bowl, we have the line going all the way across, which lets us know that the 7 is our diameter. So if my diameter is 7, to get the radius, remember we divide that by 2. Include a decimal point so you can get the decimal version of 7 over 2, and you get 3.5. So here our radius is 3.5. So then I'm going to copy down the formula for volume of a sphere, which is 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Now I'm going to plug in my dimensions. So this is 4/3 times pi times my radius, which is 3.5 cubed. So putting this in your calculator, we're going to put control divide, 4 on top, 3 on the bottom, times pi times 3.5. And remember, to get the exponent of 3, you have to hit the caret top and type 3. And then press enter. We get 179.594. Again, this 9 is going to round up the 5 to a 6. So this is 179.6. But since this is a hemisphere, we still have to divide this number by 2. So 179.6 divided by 2, we get 89.8. So here, the volume of this hemisphere is 89.8 centimeters cubed. And that is the volume for this hemisphere. So now let's go ahead and look at the bottom of your notes. Up here, really quickly, make sure you write the formula for volume of a sphere, which is volume equals 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Again, like I said, let's go ahead and look at the bottom. So looking here at the bottom, let's practice. We're still going to be finding the volume. So first thing, let's write down the formula. So the formula is volume equals 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Now, literally, the only thing you need to know is the radius. Now, here, this line only goes halfway. So here, my radius equals 5. So we're going to plug that into the formula. So this is 4/3 times pi times my radius, which is 5 cubed. So going to your calculator, we're going to type control divide, 4 on the top, 3 on the bottom, times pi times 5 with an exponent of 3. Pressing enter, you get 523.599. Again, we're going to look at the hundreds place. Since it is a 9, that's going to round up the 5 to a 6. So here, this is 523.6. My unit is inches, and since we're talking about volume, this is cubed. Okay, looking at this globe, this is half of a globe. So whatever answer I do get, we will have to cut it in half for our final result, our final answer. So I'm going to copy down the formula. So it's volume equals 4 over 3 times pi times radius cubed. So here my diameter equals 5. So to get your radius, remember you're going to divide this by 2. So 5 divided by 2, you're going to get 2.5. So here our radius equals 2.5. So 4 over 3 times pi times 2.5 cubed. Opening up your calculator, we're going to hit Control Divide. 4 on top, 3 on the bottom, times pi times 2.5 raised to the exponent of 3. So caret top 3. Pressing enter, we get 65.4. Now again, since this is half of a globe, we would have to divide this by 2. So 65.4 divided by 2, we're going to put that in our calculator, and we press enter, you're going to get 32.7. So the volume for this half globe is 32.7. Our unit is feet, and again, since we're talking about volume, this is cubed. And that is how you find the volume of a sphere.